Hello and welcome to Hidden Assets, a video cast featuring Android Netrunner games, brews, and commentary. And I'm your host, Chris, and alongside me is Steven.
Howdy.
How's it going, Steven?
Pretty good. Just ready to start commentating. I spent like the past 4 hours already playing Netrunner today.
Nice, so you're ramped up for this then.
Yeah.
Awesome. We also have a special guest tonight. Tonight we have Nick with us.
Hello.
Hi. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing fine. A little sleep deprived, but that's always.
That's all right. I totally understand. In the current game you're seeing right now, it's going to be Nick on the left and myself, Chris, on the right. I'm playing Engineering the Future, HB Engineering the Future, and Nick, you are playing Kate.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first thing I wanted to ask you is, when you sit down across from an HB player, what is the first thing that goes through your head?
They're going to have a lot of money.
Yes.
There's not a whole lot that I can do to stop that. Just that Engineering the Future ability is so strong. It's got to be at least like 10 credits in a game for free.
It's frustrating that it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to play other IDs.
Yeah. Oh, man. HB is my favorite corp, and I almost never play Engineering the Future, and my decks always seem to fall a little short, and that's probably why. But when I build Shaper, I try to build decks that don't care so much how much money the corp has. I like to build decks that can get in efficiently and maybe not a lot of times per turn, but they can always make that one access, and that's kind of the idea behind this Kate deck. I'm running all the stealth breakers and stealth credits, so they're efficient, but you can only get in about once a turn.
Interesting. Oh man,
so you are running. So you're running Black Cat then?
I'm running Black Cat, Dagger, and Refractor.
So why run Black Cat? Like, Black Cat to me seems just not. It doesn't seem better than Corroder, which is the sad comparison.
Yeah, we were having a conversation about this just before you showed up, and where he basically expressed the same thing. Yeah. So. Yeah.
And I really like Black Cat. I think it's a really cool card, and it's just unfortunate that there's already Corroder, which is just so good. Yeah, it's just unfortunate because Black Cat is a really cool card. If you have the stealth credits, it breaks most things more efficiently than Corroder, but
it doesn't
Corroder
break Bastion. It's like strength 4.
Right. Yeah, Bastion still costs just the same amount as Corroder. Nothing you can do about that, but it breaks Eli's for 1 cheaper, breaks Wall Static for 1 cheaper.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it can punch through the more and more common next silvers pretty easily.
Right.
Yeah, so that's probably the only reason why. It's next silver.
Yeah, next silver, yeah, that's true.
And Hive. Hive is also it's not as prevalent as next silver, but it's still really nice to be able to get through there for just a couple stealth credits.
So what we're seeing here is a horrible first turn on my side. I tried to sneak out an agenda behind a single wall of ice, and tends to not work so well when it's a Caduceus and Kate's on the other side of the table. So yeah, you just sort of called my bluff on that one pretty good, I have to say.
Right. And so part of the build of the deck I'm running, it's kind of janky, it's not the best, but my economy is mostly a lot of really cheap programs and hardware that I can then pawn later.
Right.
And motivation?
One of my favorite things to do. And motivation and Oracle Mate, and then it's just very, very amusing to me to pawn off motivation for 3 credits.
It's not a bad thing to do.
Well, just flavor-wise, it just seems silly. It's like pawning off Wildside.
I'd say it worked really well in this game. You got the combo assembled fairly early. So I was impressed. I guess that's the thing with motivation, though. Motivation Oracle May is that it just either works really well, or you just never assemble it and it does nothing.
But even without the Oracle May, when you have a lot of tutor cards, a lot of self-modifying codes in your deck, it's really nice to be able to see the top card. Maybe you want to hold off tutoring until you draw that first, or maybe you have rubbish and you're okay with mixing your deck up. So it has its uses outside of that, and then with Pawn Shop, it's also just a potential 3 credits, 1-click move. So it's got options in this deck, I think.
I think that's a good point. I think that's something we don't usually think about when we consider motivation, that it lets you see if the thing on top is the card you actually wanted to get with SMC. That's, we don't usually think about that. It's like motivation, yeah, let's just put that with Oracle May and draw some cards and gain some money, but it actually can help sometimes, so that's pretty cool, yeah. I mean, those fringe cases, but still. So, what's going on here?
It's like, I see a Mimic. Mimic is just always good.
Yep.
I think I'm having some trouble drawing into my breakers. There's a self-modifying code, though, so now I should be pretty free to hit at least HQ, maybe even R&D. But looks like I'm sitting at 5 credits, so not a ton, so I might just be biding my time right now.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if I clone chip that cache for the 6 credits.
I can see that.
Seems pretty good.
It's kind of what you do with cash. Get more cash with cash. So I have a question for you. Building with stealth. I know we're all kind of new to the Stealth Breakers suite, if we can even call it that. It's a little bit less than effective for all runners, but it's okay right now with Shaper. How do you feel about the Stealth suite or the Stealth Breakers, and how do you go about building with them?
I think the biggest problem is memory. If you're running Shaper, you want to run all copies of Cloak, and that's just going to put you in a huge memory situation. I run 3 Akametsus and a Box E in this deck, and wow. I've frequently had all of my memory out, and I'm still totally full of memory with another program or two that I'd like to have out, but don't have room for. So yeah, memory is definitely a big issue with when you're running Cloak specifically. And then, of course, the hardware stealth credits are just so specialized; they're kind of unreliable in most senses. I think Refractor and Lockpick could be really good in kit, but I've had many games where just code gates aren't really a problem. I don't really need the Lockpick credits.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm getting demolished here. I have to say, not a good first couple of turns for old HB. 4 points right off the bat, pretty much. Oh no, right. and I stupidly go, oh wait, no, that doesn't get trashed. Wait, hang on, put that back in my hand. I'm just totally, I've mentally lost already.
Oh no.
Just kidding. No, but yeah, it's pretty rough. I felt like this was actually a very close game, even though it started off horribly for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one problem with this deck is it starts off the run so very efficient, but the more ice you put up, the more credits, more stealth credits I have to use for run, and all of a sudden, it seems like the Stealth Breakers, they lose steam kind of towards the late game, ironically. It's really in the early game that they shine the most, that they can break through a piece or two of ice really cheaply, and then you have just enough stealth credits to get through, and then you're done.
Okay, so I'm doing something that you wouldn't do in a tournament. I asked you whether I could undo my stall so that I could Adonis campaign,
right.
Because I don't often play HB. This is something I'm trying out. I usually play Personal Evolution, and so I'm not that good at it. And remembering to res things when I'm supposed to yet. So forgive me for my mistakes. But yeah, there will be plenty of them. So how do you like Refractor?
I really like Refractor. It's as cheap to put down as Passport, but it hits all servers, and then with a stealth credit it bumps up to 5 strength. And there are no.
Yeah. Pretty much everything.
There are no code gates that have higher than 5 strength. I think
Hourglass.
Hourglass is I think 4 strength, maybe 5 strength.
Is it?
Really?
I think Cell Portal might be higher strength. And that
yeah,
might be
Cell Portal is 6.
Yeah, that's the only one that's going to cost you more than a stealth credit to get through with Refractor. But even without a stealth credit, you can still break through Enigma, Quandary, Data Pike. A lot of those kind of really problematic, cheap code gates, and that's really nice.
Yeah, it's very good. It's strength 2 for cost 1.
Base,
So right now I'm breaking that Victor 2 of yours for just a cloak and 2 credits.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It feels bad for me.
That's that's as efficient as Torch. So
wow. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. For 8 credits less to play.
I feel like it's more efficient than Zool, even if you're not pumping it. Because like there aren't any really efficient or effective 3 strength code gates anyway, right?
Right.
So most of the ones you're going to be breaking are either 5 strength, 0 strength, or 2 strength. That's pretty much it. Enigma, Quandary, Tollbooth, right? Like those are the big 3 code gates right now. I feel like just with 1 stealth credit, you're pretty much guaranteed to get through at least one of any code gate that's currently played. So
that stacking problem.
That is the problem, yeah.
So I think we just saw. I keep trying to take 5 clicks because Oracle May motivation. I forget that Oracle May is costing me a click every time.
It's easy to forget.
I just get so happy to have all those credits, and I want to do stuff with them. But so luckily you remind me. I don't think I take 5 clicks more than maybe twice. This game.
Yeah, it's casuals, folks.
Yeah,
we're just learning the decks too. So, but yeah, I did catch it earlier. The first turn of the game you did, but it's okay. Yeah. It's not a big deal. It's like I think we were like doing the math on the Caduceus and just totally forgot what was going on. So, no big deal. So yeah, now I've got a little bit more leverage here. Finally got a scoring server up and running, which is great. And now you're gonna try to and enhanced login protocol,
which is not great for me, but I'm already having trouble getting more than 1 access in a turn. So spending the extra click isn't that devastating. The problem is I'm pretty sure you've got an Ash in that server, and he's going to reset that run, and I'll be out of stealth credits for the next one. I don't think I have any ghost runners down at this point, which is unfortunate.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, replicating perfection is really good against stealth credit decks.
Oh yeah, holy crap! I hadn't thought about that. That's
like
true.
Nisei MK2 just ruins your day.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. I actually had a game the same day where I had my entire rig out, and the corp was playing with infection.
Triggers it.
I got a Jackson on the board, man. I'm good.
What did you res? Is that, that's a Heimdall.
Heimdall.
So that's one of those ice that Black Cat has a really hard time with. Because Black Cat costs, it's got the 2 to boost strength, and if you don't spend a stealth credit, it only gets +1 strength. And I've only got the 1 stealth credit on the board right now, so I'm not too happy to see that at the moment.
So you have to pump it. You have to use the stealth credit, another credit, and then 2 more credits to get it up to 6 strength. So it's costing you 3 plus the stealth, and then you have to break it normally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, if I did have another stealth credit, then I could just break it for 1 stealth credit, and that's fantastic. But just getting up to strength is a problem, and that's something where maybe actually data suckers might be really nice with Black Cat.
All right. Oh yeah. That's very true.
A lot more than Crowder, who can already boost really efficiently. Black Cat would really love to not have to use its really inefficient.
I mean, data suckers also pair well with Dagger because it brings that archer down to 5. Like.
Right. I'm really excited for the new.
Oh man, Switchblade.
Switchblade, yeah. Oh man,
that'd be so good.
Break anything but a Janus for 2 stealth credits.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's exciting. So here's another cloak. I think I've got 1, 2, 3.
It's quite the rig you've got out there.
I've got I'm using up almost all of my memory at the moment. I have one free memory, and I only have one more memory card in the deck, my console, my Boxy.
So, are you playing Boxy and Public Sympathy just as like kind of the off counter to like the Scorched Earth?
Yeah, it's not the best Scorched Defense, but it's also not useless against other decks, unless they're playing Jinteki and Kamanu pops up, and then my 8-card hand is a problem.
Right.
That's happened a few times, and more than once I've just ditched my entire hand to make my writs cheaper, and then regretted it.
Oh man, Eden Fragment is out. That was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, I mean, I've got my rig up right now. I can get in pretty well, even with all of his ice, and he's pretty low on credits right now, so I feel pretty safe getting into R&D.
Have 5 credits, I believe. 6 credits.
Yeah, pointing out the encryption protocol.
I love that card, man.
It's been a while since I stolen an agenda this game. Kind of forgot about that.
It does some serious work in HB and and replicating perfection, but the best thing is that you get on game point, and it doesn't matter because it's just that's game point. Whoever wins wins, so it's always in effect for the end till the rest of the game. It's pretty sick. In this point, from my perspective, I'm not feeling super great, even though I just scored another agenda. The reason is that on R&D, poor. I'm super poor. Yeah. What happened was I got all of my money early and then stopped getting it, kind of, as is sort of what happens with the corp sometimes. And I trying to find the last 3-2 basically as fast as possible. But I am not having any success.
Right, and I'm kind of okay right now, letting you draw through cards. It's helping me get more accesses with my R&D interfaces.
Yeah,
but
that's actually that's pretty scary for me right now. I don't know. I don't remember what the ice is over R&D, but I just remember that it wasn't very good, and it was good. But not good with a refractor with 2 cloaks on. Like that surprisingly kind of hoses me. But I mean, good in every other circumstance. So it's something to think about with the stealth breakers is that it should make the corp play their ice differently to some extent. Particularly Victor. Victor's really cheap for you, right? You could just basically run through HQ right now. So.
And I think I'm waiting. I'm looking for another legwork.
I'm surprised you run legwork with that deck. Like I think HQ interface might be better just because you only make 1 run a turn, so you just like can kind of repeatedly go in.
Right, and that's interesting. I like legwork because it lets you hammer HQ 1 turn, and you get to see if there's an agenda in there. There's a pretty good chance that you're gonna see it. Yeah. And then also, as Shaper, you expect the corp to ice up R&D pretty heavily. So if you put the pressure on R&D, then HQ is usually wide open later on.
But then if you use the interfaces, you're kind of telegraphing to your opponent, though, that like you might actually do hit HQ, so that forces them to like spread out their ice.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it's a thought. I definitely run into some click compression problems. I think that's why I ran legwork. I used to run HQ interface in the first draft of this deck, and it was too slow to get out and make a run. And I like the explosive power of legwork.
Oh boy. Big dig here. Anything?
Dig.
Nothing. All right. Thank you.
Not over yet.
Not over yet. Enhanced login protocol doing some serious work, though, I have to say.
Right. So here's me using Black Hat to inefficiently get up to strength.
Yeah.
But then that 1 stealth credit gets me through everything. Now, I don't know if I spend the stealth credit here or if I actually spend 3 credits so I can hang on to my cloak for an emergency. Oh, no, I spent it.
Don't you have to spend... like to bump up the strength of Black Cat, isn't it 1 stealth credit every time you use that ability?
You don't have to. It's optional.
It's 2 for 1, or if you have a stealth credit in there, then it's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
So not great.
2 for 3 strength, right? Is that what you mean?
2 for 2.
Oh, it's 2 strength.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, it's not it's really inefficient at boosting its strength. So here I lose a sharpshooter to go get another cloak with a self-modifying code.
Right.
I feel like Black Cat should have cost 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a much better card at 3.
But you also have to remember, starting strength at 3 for barriers is not at all bad. It still gets you through Wall of Static for 1 credit, which is pretty big.
That's true. I mean, it costs 3 with Kate. There you go.
Yeah.
I guess that's true.
I mean, if you have a full stealth rig out, then it's not really costing you any more than Crowder. It's just making your other stealth breakers a little less efficient, and that can be a problem. And that's a problem that I ran into with this deck. Is there are a lot of times I would have much rather had a Corroder, so I could save my stealth credits. Like right here, it would have been nice to not have to go digging for that cloak.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, Black Cat is like influence expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, all the stealth cards are actually pretty heavy on the influence. Like Lockpick, Silencer, and Dyson random number generator. They're all, 3 influence, I think?
Right. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they don't want people to just like stick them all in one deck.
Right.
It would just be the most efficient thing ever if it cost like 1 influence for Silencer. Then everyone would be playing Silencer and Dagger and a Cloak, and you'd be like, running over all the sentries. There'd be no point in running sentries. I don't know. It's a little silly, but it is too bad. I wish it was 2 influence. If it was 2 influence, I think it would be a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, I think it's still a really good choice for a lot of Anarchs, such as they're often running the Fixed Breaker suite. Black Cat goes along pretty nice with that. I'm not sure that it's better than Morningstar on most occasions, but just being able to play it for 4 cheaper means that you have it earlier. So I pawned off my motivation last turn, and now I'm pawning off the Oracle May.
Now stuff is happening. So you're done. You're done oracling. You've seen the future.
I know that I need credits. It's a matter of time. Chicana.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
So Chicana is a 2-cost 1 MU program. Says when you make a run on R&D, place a virus counter on it. It's a virus itself. And when you have 3 virus counters, all agendas cost +1 advancement to score. So basically it's a source right now. This is, by the way, 2 games in a row I've played against someone playing either a Chicana or a source. And it's been really frustrating. I have to say,
I guess this is the perfect time for Chicana, when you're at game point and you're just trying to find that last agenda in R&D.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look how much work it's doing. He just needs 1 more run, and I can't. It's going to take me 2 turns to score a 3-2. That's really bad. And I'm poor. I'm still poor.
Right.
I've only got 5 credits, so...
And not to mention that when you do score the 3-2, if you don't wipe virus counters, you have to advertise right there that you've got an agenda sitting out. I think that's an NAPD, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't remember. Oh, God. Oh, God. Sweet relief. Sweet relief.
But that's the 3rd virus counter on Chicana, so if it is an NAPD, it's not in scoring range anymore.
No. Sad face. And the thing that really bugs me is that even if I wipe virus counters, you can get right back into R&D that same turn, even with enhanced login protocol out. So I'm pretty much feeling like the pressure here.
All right, so I've got a little bit of insider knowledge. You're talking about how you're running Chrysium Grid in this deck, so I've got a pretty good feeling that that's what you just put on R&D.
Oh man, Chrysium Grid is so good.
Yeah.
It is good. It is good. So we won't see it in this game, unfortunately, but I am playing Crisium Grid off the grid in this HB deck.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I love it. I think it's great.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the problem with HB late game is that they stall out, and the runner has enough credits and all their breakers, and they can just run through their servers, right? That's why they need Ash. But if you have Ash off the grid and Crisium Grid out, it's going to cost them maybe 3 times as many credits to get through. So it gives you an extra scoring window. It's essentially an extra turn. If you
But
think
it
of
is
that way.
way expensive. And it's also
is.
terrible in R&D. Like,
oh, yeah. Well, you don't... Yeah, that's true.
Like,
but I'm only running 1 in this deck. And 2 Crisium Grid. It's a backup for late game. So it's only meant late game. You don't use it early game. If you lose it, it's no big deal. You're still playing Redcoats, so you're fine. But it's if you get it late game, I won't see it in this game, unfortunately. But I did against Chuck, one of our other local players, and it did some serious work against him. And he was playing Rachel Beckman. All right, and
Rachel Beckman's really good.
That's the just Hail Mary pull right there.
Oh yeah, and that was last turn. I actually had enough credits to score, which was I'm not going to show us because I'm a jerk. I think it's an NAPD. I'm pretty sure it was an NAPD.
Right. That would make the most sense given how many given the 2 advancements and not being able to score at that last turn.
All right, we're back with game number 2. And,
next design. Yes.
No, I wish.
This is not next design.
Is that the Foundry?
Custom Biotics, actually.
Oh,
that's right.
Next design is probably my favorite ID, even though every single next design deck I've built plays better as Engineering the Future.
I know. I have that exact same problem.
Oh man,
it's driving me up a wall.
I do have a Foundry deck that actually does play better as Foundry than Engineering the Future. It has a lot of next ice, a lot of cheap ice, and so it gets a pretty quick Glacier out for cheap.
Huh.
And the Foundry is also, along with Jackson Howard, it's actually really good defense against parasites, because when they trash your ice, you can just put it back in your deck, and the next time you res that ice, you have it back in your hand. So that's actually pretty fun with Foundry.
Interesting.
So
Nick, Custom Biotics, what sort of strategies, strengths, weaknesses does it have over regular Engineering the Future? Why would you play Custom Biotics over what everyone assumes is the strongest HB identity right now?
Pretty much, there's as far as I can tell, there's one reason to run Custom Biotics over Engineering the Future, and that is mid-seasons. Mid-seasons is it gives you a lot of options. You can go for a pretty easy Scorched kill. You can go for, in this deck I'm running Psychographics.
Are you doing Project Ares Psychographics?
No, I'm actually just doing Project Vitruvius Psychographics. So once I have Vitruvius out, I can over advance it and just keep on recurring that one Psychographics until I sort out all the agendas in hand.
I think you almost had an eternal fan there, Nick, because I know Steven's been trying to get that to work for a while.
Oh man, it's tricky. My biggest problem is I don't run a third copy of Mid-Seasons or Psychographics. I wanted to run Data Ravens. I didn't want to rely on Mid-Seasons as the only way I have to tag people. But the problem is that Data Raven does too good a job at making the runner wary of tags.
Right.
And I can't get any to stick. It does a really good job at ending runs, surprisingly.
It is probably some of the best end the run ice.
Because no matter what break you have, unless you have a fem on it, you're taking a tag. It's going to cost you another click and 2 credits to lose that tag. So
that's right. Yep.
That's
very frustrating with Nasir, by the way. Not usually someone who has credits to throw around losing tags, but
right. But if I took it out, I think I'd have more influence for another mid-season than another Psychographics. I could pull off that combo much more reliably than I can. And so I run, I think, 17 pieces of ice in this deck. I'm just not seeing a whole ton of it right now, which isn't great. I got greedy. I saw a lot of economy in my opening hand. which is what you want when you're running mid seasons. You want to be able to pop it for at least the guaranteed 4 or 5 credits.
Right, exactly. Right.
You want to land
Luckily,
a lot of tags.
right, and that's one advantage the stick has over standard Psychobeal is that I don't need that many tags. I don't need to score out a winning Beal. Even 3 tags is enough that I can over advance Vitruvius by 1 each turn. And so that's enough credits to recur it. So I don't need a ton of tags in this deck, and that's kind of why I threw in the data raids. I figured maybe they can give me the few extra tags that I need to.
No. Like, have you thought about using Muckraker?
I thought about it. Man, I really don't like Bad Pub.
It's another Steven special, I think.
It's a cool card.
It is, but then also traces are really expensive for me, especially when the runner has Link, and that's a problem.
I know.
It is a cool card. I agree. So just to keep us up to date with what's going on here, so I have a new card that just came out in the most recent data pack, Order of Saul. And what I essentially did was pop my SMC, use it to get Parasite, and I got extra credit. But I just found out, not long after playing this match, actually, I think it was the day after, in a ruling from Lucas, that you can actually use the credit got from Order of Saul to install whatever program you're getting with SMC. So it's essentially like Order of Saul. If you're using SMC at 2 credits, you can install something for -1 credit, provided you have a credit. Like if it costs 1 or 2, basically.
Yeah. It also works with Sure Gamble.
It does, yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So Sure Gamble and gain 10, go to 10.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a really strong start. Also, at 2 credits, which is what Nasir's at a lot, Dirty Laundry brings you up to 6, which is not a bad deal. So that's a pretty good one.
So I've got my Adonis Res, and I think I just put an Ash underneath there. A little disincentive for you running on it now, and then if the Ash sticks around, then I can turn that into a scoring remote later.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I just like to see you spend your credits, and as Nasir, you don't have a ton to spend anyway. So if you want to trash that Adonis, it's going to cost you.
Unfortunately for you, I don't often trash assets with Nasir because he doesn't have any money to do that. I mean, the only time I would do that is if the assets were in direct threat to me, like losing the game, like a San or something like that. That's basically, well, I mean, I would trash it. I probably should have trashed that Adonis. That may have been a play mistake, because you do end up getting a crap ton of money off of it. I think at this point, I was thinking that I'm ahead on board. I have my at-minute 0. I got a Data Sucker. I haven't seen a whole lot of threatening anything, so I'm not super worried. But, yeah, it probably would have been wise to trash the Adonis. Also, of interesting note, if you trash the Adonis and you go to 0 credits, you gain a credit with Order of Saul. So.
Right.
Just Order of Saul, just the value machine.
It's really good. It's a phenomenal card. I don't know if running on low credits is actually a good idea. Maybe they'll make like some sort of hardware that says if you have 4 or fewer credits, like you take 1 fewer like meat damage or something like that. That would be awesome. But until then, it's still kind of a risky proposition.
So now your board set is looking pretty good. You've got clone chip to recur that self-modifying code. You just need credits, really.
Yeah.
The fact
And
that you
Parasite.
started the toolbox means you have one in hand.
Yeah. That's right. All right. This is a pretty good play here.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad play on my part. I don't remember if I put that ice in front of the Adonis' turn or if it was already over there, but...
You did last turn, yeah. You just put it there.
I should have protected my HQ better because of what's about to happen next.
Don't spoil it. No, so, yeah, I was very lucky here, I'd say. Big turn for me. Double Data Sucker, at minute 0. Like, I'm not worried about anything. Like, I'll run this. And it's pretty big.
That is...
Oh, okay.
The end was near.
It's about the best turn you could probably have with Nasir, I'd say. Didn't even get to play my Toolbox or Stim Hack. I really wanted to. That's okay. So, yeah. I mean, that game, we're going to play another one with Custom Biotics and Nasir because that game was really short. So, but we'll... it was short, and I think it's uncharacteristic of those kinds of matches, so we'll try.
Yeah, it doesn't prove whether the deck is good or
not. No, that was just Netrunner being Netrunner. It's like, sometimes you just win.
Yeah, and it's a pretty low agenda density deck. I think I have 9 agendas, so...
Yeah. That was unlucky then, really unlucky.
It's 3 agendas that early is pretty poor luck.
But it happens. It could be worse. I mean, that's generally why you have Jackson. I don't think I run Jackson in this deck. I've got 3
Jackson-less decks.
three archive memories, and then the Project Vitruvius. So I can pull things out of archives pretty easily. So I'm not that afraid of noise. Actually, in a lot of cases, noise might actually give me an agenda instead of giving the runner an agenda.
Huh. Oh, right.
Just a better card draw.
Over advancing Vitruvius, yeah. That's actually a pretty good play. You don't see it very often, but it is.
I
really
like
powerful.
over advancing it. It is so useful.
Mm-hmm. It's just nice in general. It's nice against noise for one. I was just saying because it just you don't even have to threaten a Jackson on the field. He just knows that any agendas he gets in archives is gonna be one fewer, unless he drops, of course, a Hades Shard.
Yeah, Hades Shard from hand.
Hades Shard, yeah.
Which is brutal. Have any of you had that happen to you?
I haven't yet.
Not yet. It seems haven't been playing against this much noise as after.
I've seen so many noise decks.
Right. A lot of noise after Cash came out, but it seems like they're kind of losing a little bit of steam. They're not as popular right now.
Yeah, maybe it's just because everyone just knows, as I think as Stephen Woolley put it, like that noise is a game plan, not so much a deck. You just have this game plan and you stick to it. There's my hand. I had a request from a viewer that it'd be cool if we could see hands, and I don't have a second or third camera yet. So
yeah, that would be really challenging.
Yeah, it'd be hard.
I've got Eli, closed accounts, I think 1 or 2 other pieces of lights, and an archive memories. Yeah. I think I have 1 agenda in hand. I'm just really hoping that you don't grab here.
Oh man, unlucky. I've been lucky grabbing those agendas. Also, I don't know if you knew this, Nick, but generally most people keep their agendas closest to the inside of their palm.
Huh.
So, and this is a secret that's out now, but it helps so much as a runner. You have no idea. Yeah, even if you're playing Personal Evolution and people and you're doing damage to them, you're gonna probably grab more account siphons from their palm side than from their finger side.
That's curious. My agendas always pop up exactly where the runner is grabbing. So.
Well, so what do you think about card forcing? Do you think that's a legitimate strategy, or that's just dishonest?
Explain what you mean first.
So card forcing is kind of the concept of you can kind of prime the person who's picking a card at random to pick the card you want. So you might push forward the card that they want just slightly, so it's just slightly closer to them, so people might choose it.
I think Netrunner is as much part of a psychological game as it is a card game. There's a lot of bluffing going on. So if you're good at forcing cards on somebody, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think that's an interesting play.
I tend to agree on that. That's one of the reasons I don't play it often on Octagon. It's weird because
from the interface being garbage.
We'll edit that out. But basically, that the idea that it's a game about hacking corporations, in a cold, humorless environment of the internet, but it plays poorly on the internet, a cold, cruel, humorless interface, which I find incredibly funny. But in person, it is an incredibly, you know, I don't know, difficult but, you know, finesse-based game. And I think, you know, as you said, Nick, bluffing is at the core of the game, really. And I find that to be true here. And I don't know. I think as people need to be aware that people could be card forcing you, essentially. You know, you see it sometimes. They spread the like one card to the left, one card to the right. And you're like, you know, are they gonna? You know, should I grab that one? You know, people tend to grab one side. To you know, some people tend to grab to the left. Some people tend to grab to the right. It's just, it's all psychological. But and I don't know much about psychology, so I'm just gonna say it's magic.
Right. So that was a pretty efficient Hunter res right there. I'm not totally sold on it, but against Nasir, it dropped you down to 1 credit. You couldn't break the trace. You had your person workshop out, so you can't afford the tag. So it cost you quite a bit for that 1 credit. It cost me.
Hunter seems pretty good. Like,
it's not bad.
I think it's would be a lot better in a deck that doesn't even have much tag punishment. It kind of, again, we're talking about mind games. It kind of psychs the runner out, makes him really nervous about flooding those tags. So especially if you're
like in custom biotics, you have to be really afraid of that because it's like
right,
if you see a tag card, it's like he could have 3 scorches and like who knows what else because you have 22 influence. You have so much influence.
And that's just the fun of custom biotics is that it's really hard to predict what they're going to do. You assume that they're going to run mid-seasons, I think, most of the time. In my experience, when someone's running custom biotics, they're usually running mid-seasons, which it kind of opens up the possibility for a totally
a non-mid-season.
A non-standard custom biotics deck. Like you could just run pure Glacier and rush out some agendas pretty easily.
Yeah, it's scary, actually. I didn't see anything in the way of influence last game because it was so short. So I had no idea what you're running. I was like, okay, I assume Scorch is going to be in that deck because that's what people usually do. But I don't think you're doing that in this deck, and so I'm getting nervous. Like, I'm assuming Psychographics. That's, you know, I'm assuming mid-season Psychographics. But who knows? Like, oh, then I see Data Raven. I can't read it. I haven't seen it for a while.
And man, I would love for you to run in and take the tag and throw down a plascrete to try to protect yourself. But I think you just back off.
Yeah, I'll take my money and run, basically.
So it ends the run.
Data Raven is too efficient.
Yeah.
Although with Nasir, it's not so bad against Nasir. I gain 4, and then the run ends. Which is fine.
I think I archived memories into a restructure just because I needed the money. I don't have a whole lot else going on in my hand right now.
Right.
Do you do the archive memories and then the archive memories for 3 cards? I can't remember what it's called.
Reclamation
Order?
Yeah. Or do you find that's too slow?
I'm not a huge fan of Reclamation Order. If I'm splashing and if I'm pulling from out of faction, I'll probably grab Reclamation Order instead of Archive Memories, just because that 2 influence adds up pretty quickly, and so 1 or 2 Reclamation Orders is better than 3 Archive Memories for most other decks. Here, I'm not running the 3 Archive Memories plus the Vitruvius. They're usually good enough. I don't run a huge risk of getting agenda flooded just because I don't have that many agendas in my deck, so I'm not too concerned with pulling a bunch of cards out of my archives.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah. So you use it then mostly as utility, as opposed to like power.
Right. Like if I get, say, if I do pull off the mid seasons, I get a Psychographics. I don't have a Vitruvius. It's still an easy way to get that Psychographics back, especially if I want to score out a 5/3 agenda.
That's interesting.
Oh,
all right.
Atman's at 4 seems really good.
Yeah, Atman's at 4. I think I was going to put it at 4 anyway. This deck runs Atman at 0, Atman at 4. Usually just Atman at 4. It's good enough, but I haven't seen a whole lot of breakers, and you guys know me a little bit better than the people who have never met me, and who are maybe watching this. But I generally play Desperado Nasir, which runs very cheap, efficient breakers and lots of atmen and lots of data suckers. Right. Basically, a run like a criminal version of Nasir, essentially, is what it kind of is. But this is a more standard toolbox Nasir, and I'm not very used to playing it like that. I just want to get my breakers and start running, but it's so expensive. And Toolbox is so expensive. Look, it's at 2 finally. It's been how many turns? 8, 9 turns.
Have you thought about using like the Desperado Nasir with Order of Sol, or is that like too like counter, or not counter good, but just like Order of Sol kind of contradicts with like anti-synergy.
With Desperado?
Yeah.
A little bit. I actually do have a build with that, and that's my current one. I'm working on it now. It's a sort of like I'm trying stealth breakers now because I haven't done that before with Nasir, and it utilizes Desperado and Order of Sol. But from my experience, yeah, there's a little bit of anti-synergy. I haven't got the list correct, I think, but there's something to be said for dirty laundering archives with a data sucker open and gaining 7 credits, and with a Desperado like it's ridiculous. You go 1 card, gain 7, and a token. Come on, that's perfect. That's what he wants.
And they might trigger a Jackson or something.
Yeah, they might trigger a Jackson. Yeah. So we'll see. It might not be the best build. Professional Contacts might be the correct card in that deck. It has served me well in the past, so I can't say right now. It's too early. I haven't played with it enough.
So I'm playing into a lot of econ right now. I just don't have anything to do with it, unfortunately, at the moment. I don't have any agendas to try to rush out, and I don't have the mid-seasons yet. So
thank God.
I'm sitting on a lot of money. I'm not sure what to do with it at the moment. So
just dirtling.
Yep.
Mid-season replacements, would be easier to find with Jackson in the deck.
Jackson, and the one card that I really should need to have in this deck is blue level clearance.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Such a good job of running through your deck and getting you that economy at the same time. It's really nice to have.
You're just using the green level in that, right?
At the moment, I actually, it's one of the only data packs I don't own. I think it's Fear and Loathing.
Oh.
I just don't own it, and so I don't have the blue levels. And for the most part, I don't own it because most of the cards don't impress me much. But I do need to pick that data pack up, if just for that one card.
I'm getting some serious bad luck here. So I haven't seen Order of Sol or my R&D interfaces yet. And I have R&D pretty much locked down if I could keep it up, right? So that's a bummer.
Yeah, in a minute you'll even be able to trace through that century with just your link.
That's right.
So it's not a great place for me to be sitting. So I think I finally drew a Vitruvius. And
more money.
I think I might try to force out the Vitruvius. I've got a next bronze in that remote. You don't have any co-gates. Your admin is too strong, and you're at least a couple turns away from rezzing that Fem. So I think I can safely put it out.
Yeah, that Fem. I have to say, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but that Fem. That's all I gotta say.
Right. And then of course you also have that self-modifying code, so that might have scared me away from trying to put out that agenda.
Right,
I know I'm going to try to force out some agendas pretty soon here. I just don't remember when. This deck runs mid-season graphics, but it also can easily just switch gears into a regular old Glacier HB deck.
Right.
Which goes through really well with mid-seasons. If you spend all your credits getting into my agenda, then I'm okay. I'm happy. Because then I can throw the tags down, and I'm pretty set at that point.
So, guys, I have a question for you. It's about making mistakes. Somewhat, there will be some mistakes made in this video. There have been already, I'm sure. We are not perfect. We do this for fun and hopefully to edify and to help people entertain. Maybe I hope you're entertained. My question is, how do you deal with your mistakes? How do you recognize them, and what do you do in order to learn from them?
It depends if they're in my favor or the opponent's favor. Like, if it was my mistake and then it's like it benefits the corp, then it's just like, wow, that was my fault.
Right.
But like, if you accidentally, lose more credits than you were supposed to doing some run, like, then I just remember like, oh, like that's how that works, or like.
So choosing the right play, especially for a runner like Nasir, who's so like, every time I play Nasir, I always feel I'm on razor's edge. I'm on a razor's edge. I'm just about to lose it, or I'm about to get mid-seasoned, or I'm about to get scorched, or he feels like he's always on the run, which seems intentional. That's sort of his flavor, right? And
kind of like Ian. Sterling is exactly the same way.
No, you're absolutely right. They have a lot in common, actually.
Right. I haven't actually played Ian Sterling, but all the decks I've played against him, I don't really feel like he always feels he's really in control. But maybe that's just because he has so much money most of the time.
Yeah.
So going back to mistakes, Nick, how do you deal with your mistakes?
The biggest mistakes I make are not playing my deck. I make a lot of decks that are kind of just maybe not the most competitive, but they have little tricks to them that I need to focus on. Like right now, I think I really should be building up a remote. I should be trying to bluff an agenda, or maybe even play an agenda. I should be trying to mid-season Z right now. Is what I should really be trying to do. I don't know if I have it in hand, but I really want to have it in hand. But other games, I think I play too hard. I try to bluff out mid-seasons when I miss out on scoring windows where I could just be winning the game normally. So I really my biggest problem is remembering what deck I'm playing, how to play it, but then also not getting too hung up on interesting little combos and tricks.
I mean, that sounds like tunnel vision. Like, and I have that problem where like you start trying to get into R&D and like all you want is R&D, and then you just forget like, HQ is just wide open.
Right. Absolutely.
Or like you're just letting these remotes go.
I can't tell you how many games games that I've maybe even won where I've just pummeled R&D. Wonder why I can't find agendas. Never took a second to run HQ.
Find that there's 6 in hand or 5 in hand.
Right, and part of that is just as a shaper. Like I feel like my HQ runs are really inefficient. I feel like the odds are stacked against me, and I feel like I'm throwing credits away most of the time. But at late game, if they're not throwing out agendas, I'm not seeing any. It should be pretty clear where they're at. But I'll still just keep bull rushing into R&D, shoving my way through, pushing down the little people to try and find that bargain agenda.
Right. Okay, so I've conceded that remote, it sounds like. And I'm trying to get my... Oh! Alright, got an R&D. Scored a Vitruvius. That's good news.
Right, and if I had a mid-season, it'd be really good news for me. I'm on 18 credits, you're on 1.
2, I think, yeah.
2.
All the tags.
All of them, yeah. It's bad.
The problem, though, is, like, once that hits, though, like, Data Raven becomes bad.
Yeah.
It does, but that's okay. I'm not really... So I think at that point I had a choice. I could have either tried to dig for a mid-season or score out that Vitruvius, and I think that was probably the right play.
I think it was, too. Yeah.
There's no guarantee I'd draw into mid-seasons. I had a perfect scoring window, and even without my combo, an over-advanced graphics or over-advanced Vitruvius is still pretty good.
It's nothing to complain about.
I can pull out one of those next ites that you parasited early, and that would be nice to have right now. But yeah, that Data Raven is doing pretty good work over HQ at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my Fem. That would suck. Or my only barrier breaker in the deck,
And
it's sort of bad.
I think after playing this deck for a while, I think if I really want to keep Data Raven, I need to put them over remotes, which is kind of counterintuitive. You think you want them to be in a taxing central server.
So I just saw an NEPD, just so you know, and that is so brutal. I haven't been able to hit my Ghost Runners, which would have been awesome, but man, is that brutal.
So I think I put down an accelerated beta test, and I know I've got a next bronze in front of there, so I know even unless you can pull out a code gate breaker, you won't have enough credits to get in, but I'm just throwing out more ites just in case you can trigger out that fem really quickly. Or,
right. So, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was saying that fem is worrying me, because I think I've got 2 next silver and then the next bronze. And
so speaking of mistakes, one of them is I sit on that Morningstar and that fem for way too long, and I don't contest the remote. There's another really bad one that comes up later. It hurts me so bad.
It's like, you should just be running to get him to res the ice, if nothing else.
Oh, I know. But I can't. I would just stop. I would just stop at the next silver, right? So I make this play, trying to get a couple more data sucker tokens, maybe, or it's also possible. He just ran an ABT, so it's very possible that's an agenda. And we'll see.
Man, this phase of the game is still frightening because you've only seen 2 influence.
Oh, I know. It's a cool deck. I like custom biotics. It's the mind games. It's so many mind games. It kind of impressed me, actually. I had some ideas after this.
So just resting the next bronze was really a mistake on my part. But luckily you make your own mistake just as much, and you're gonna parasite that. And the reason why that's a mistake is gonna be clear when you run on that remote.
Yeah. So I should have kept. I will do it here in a second, but let's stick to the moment here. I'm thinking, okay, he just rezzed a bronze. There's probably something in archives. Should I try to go there? And I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is I still go there. It'll make you use your Project Vitruvius token, which is fine because then you won't be able to mid-season me twice in a turn, which seems okay. It's also an okay play because... Oh, okay, so I decided not to parasite it just now. I'm running a remote. Yeah.
Maybe I think you parasite this next silver is what happens.
All right, we're going to skip ahead. We're skipping ahead because there's a little bit of dirtling on our side, but it's fine.
No, I guess parasite does pop out on the bronze.
Yeah, it does. I was thinking. Yeah, it's a weird choice. I thought about parasiting the silver.
Oh, so I guess eventually it will die, and then you'll have free access to archives?
Right, that was my goal. The main problem was that I couldn't kill both silvers because I didn't have enough credits to pull my Morningstar off. Okay, Morningstar, just for the record, is too expensive. It's not a very good breaker. It's very efficient.
It's wonderful if you can test Ren and Scavenge.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
I really like Morningstar, but mostly because I like my decks that can get in. Oh, here we go. So I accelerate beta test. I get out another next bronze, and I'll install Overyear Parasite.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just leave the Parasite in?
And you put it right back.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. So this is
well, you shouldn't have uninstalled the Parasite to begin with, because playing the next bronze, it buys you another turn, so it'll just stay there for a while.
Yeah. Oh, you mean just putting it on as another ice on there?
I might have been thinking about that 4-strength admin though.
It would be 4-strength. Yeah.
Right.
That is really awkward.
Yeah.
Some really weird interactions there with Atman. and the next bronze gets +1 strength for each next ice that's rezzed. And if he put another bronze in front of a bronze, he would have 4 on the board. So I'd be able to get through no problem, which is really weird. That said, if you waited a turn and that parasite ticked that bronze down 1, I wouldn't be able to get in.
Right.
So many awkward interactions all at once. It's a little overwhelming. So I think for a while I've sort of forgotten that R&D has been completely wide open because of my Atman at 4.
But it still costs you
5.
4 credits. You don't really have to break the hunter. He's got the toolbox out. He's got the link. I'm low on credits. So really, it just cost him 2 at this point.
I wonder what we saw there. It looked kind of interesting.
I'm not sure. You might have seen a restructure. I think. Structure. Which, yeah, I definitely need to take that out for blue level clearance. It's just I'm not sitting at 10 credits that often.
Right.
And I really want to be drawn into my combo. So.
Also, notice how sad Nasir is without Order of Soul out. He's just really, really sad.
What is Order of Soul? His house?
No, I think it's
what is it narratively?
No, I think it's kind of like the Illuminati.
I reading the flavor text. It sounds like it's sort of a it's like a what do they call the universal religions?
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh. Yeah.
But they're that's right. I think you're right. It's more like universal.
Unitarian or whatever.
Unitarian. Yeah, that's right.
And so the concept is that they just give alms to the poor. So when you're poor, they give you a credit.
I have no idea, to be honest. We'll have to ask Lucas that. I don't know what the flavor is.
Right.
Maybe they're doing some back alley dealings with runners to, I don't know.
Well, here we go. So I was really afraid you were going to fem that ice in that remote,
which was my mistake.
I think
I should have done that. Actually, what I should have done that was one mistake, but there's another mistake. That's okay. I'm human. I can make mistakes. But anyway, I wanted to go into HQ. The reason is that you've been drawing for a long time. You only scored 2 agendas. I figured okay, well, there's got to be something in HQ. So, I mean, I guess I go for it, but not so happy. Oh, it's another victor. I think I've seen that victor 3 times this game.
It could be. It's the only one in the deck.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Going back in.
I'm really enjoying these next ice. They're so chill. There you go. They're so cheap. They're really good at stopping runs, and even when you can get through them, it's still pretty taxing.
The one thing, the downside of the next ice that someone brought up to me was that the moment you see one piece of next ice, you know that they have 5 more cards in the person's deck.
Sure, and that's true, but a lot of times when I'm running Glacier, I don't have too many tricky guys. I'm not really trying to pop a surprise Ichi on them. I just want my service to either be impossible to get into or really expensive, and that's where next ice is really good. It doesn't cost you much to throw them out. I mean, if you have 3 next silver, it costs you 9 credits. It's going to cost with a Corroder 9 credits to get through all of them in one run.
Yeah, and then you're not including the benefit of the next bronzes.
Right.
One thing that they're really bad against is Morningstar, unfortunately, which is what I'm trying to get out. But since I'm so dang poor here, I can't even deal with it. So I click for credits. This is my turn. So I click. So I'm at 3 credits after 2 clicks. 3rd click I run. This is my mistake. I pull off Morningstar, but then I can't do. I can't do anything. So
you're also
embarrassing. But the problem was, and you're gonna kill me for this, I was holding a scavenge in hand, and I should have scavenged the fem onto the last piece of ice, and I would have got the agenda. Oh, that hurts.
And I think that's just it's either a Wotan or an Eden fragment. But either way, yeah, that is the game right there.
Yeah. I just can't get in.
Next hit strength 3 is terrible, like for
Right.
the CR2 because it's stronger than it is res cost.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I think you pointed out, Nick, that if I had left the other next bronze there, I would have been able to get through with that.
Right.
So many problems. Oh well. So that's I can't get through. I bounce, and then.
And looks like I've got mid seasons in hand finally. Not
You're
that
at
many.
game point.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. Like I'm only running 2 because it's so influence heavy. But I think if I really wanted to make that my game plan, I need 3 of them. And even in custom biotics, 3 mid seasons and 3 graphics, it's almost all of your influence right there.
So
21 out of 22.
Last click, run HQ. Nick graciously shows me he has no agendas in hand, and then kills me, basically. Well done, sir. Well done.
Running a Project Wotan, like not priority requisition.
I don't have many expensive ice in the deck. I've got, I think, 1 Ichi 2.0, a Victor, and I think that might be about it. And
like,
it's just really nice on.
There's
on
a Wotan though.
Yeah. There's a Wotan, but it's also good on Wotan. It turns Wotan into a guaranteed
an actual piece of ice.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still playing with the ice in the deck. I had mostly cheap ice, and I was trying to run like 1 or 2, if you surprise expensive ice. But I think Wotan started off as a Heimdall 2, should have stayed a Heimdall 2.
Cool.
Yeah, I made that discovery that it's like you never want Wotan. Like Heimdall 2 is just better.
My last Nexus Ion deck that I ran 2 copies of Bio Deficiency Research and 3 copies of Oversight AI. And an Oversight AI Wotan early game is going to stick around for a long time. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But it just doesn't end the run.
It doesn't end the run, but it costs them a lot to get through, and then when they get through, it doesn't break because it's not like other Bioroids.
So, any final closing remarks, guys, about these games? Comments about Nasir, custom biotics, games in general?
No, I really want to make now just a really mean custom biotics deck that has, some tag and ice tagging cards, but no real tag punishment outside of close accounts. Just keep the runner on their toes for no reason.
Yeah, you could do some really cool things like with custom biotics, just faking people out or just pulling weird cards like like Wayland operations, like not just Scorched Earth, but you can like Power Shutdown, and you don't have to run the stupid combo, but
Right.
like Power Shutdown is good.
Yeah, it's a great card. It's great. It's underplayed, in my view. For what it does, it's quite strong. I know you're a fan, Steven. So.
Yeah, I like it.
The biggest thing I want to do that you can't do in custom decks, I want to really build a deck around Midori, but she's a Shinteki upgrade, unfortunately.
That's the swapping and ice?
Yeah, I haven't seen. I've never really seen her played in any deck. I tried to build a Shinteki deck around her, but none of the Shinteki ice is just so amazing that it's a huge shock.
The problem is, like, if you pull a rezzed piece of ice, like, that's really bad.
Right. Unless you've got, like, an Amazon industrial grid down.
Yeah.
And then it's, yeah.
I guess you would have to run all the cool ice upgrades, like, specifically, like, the hacker guy, Akibo?
Akitaro Watanabe.
Yeah, Akitaro. Yeah. To make ice rezzing cheaper. And
yeah, there's some fun things you could do, but the problem is that Shinteki has, their Nasus ice are all sentries, and the runner's going to know that going in.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to really surprise the runner very, very much with Midori.
Yeah.
At least not in faction. I think she could do a lot more work out of faction.
They need a cool Shinteki version of custom biotics that like doesn't let you get Wayland cards.
I'm sure they'll do something like that. I don't know. They've got to be experimenting with the influence costs after NEH.
Right.
Because they've got to bring some of the other factions up to that power. It just feels like
I wouldn't mind an NBN identity that couldn't splash Hospiroid.
that would be awesome.
Because then you wouldn't have Astrobiotics. You'd still have Fast Advance. Astrotrain still be there, but you wouldn't be able to necessarily score it right out of hand.
Man, you'd have all the crazy Wayland cards. Wayland and Jetpacky cards. Ugh.
That'd be pretty cool.
You could also run a really nasty Scorch deck. So you got all the tagging tools in faction.
That would be pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
Well, we got to wrap this up, guys. So thanks for watching, everybody. And we'll see you next time on Hidden Assets.
All right. Have a good one.
Adios.